like. Of course, you know from your online experience that it is much easier to work when we see each other's faces and we can communicate, right? So actually today our topic is categorizing learners' mistakes, right? We are going to talk today about such things like just categories and reasons why our students usually make mistakes. We are going to discuss some ciphers, some correction codes that we can use in our teaching practice. And also we are going to practice TKT and just complete some TKT tasks. Okay, so I think we can start, right? Well, so first of all, I'd like just to ask you, when actually we categorize and speak about our learners' mistakes, we actually can subdivide them into two major categories. We can speak about learners' errors and learners' slips. So, could you please read the definitions of errors and slips and try to identify which is which? What can be considered an error and what can be considered a slip? So, switch on your microphones, pick up, share your ideas. Well, any ideas? Who would like to start with it? So, what about the first description? So, it is about which one can be considered like developmental. For example, learners make mistakes because their learning of item is as yet incomplete. What do you think of that? Okay, exactly. So, of course, when we speak about errors, usually we say that some skill is not developed well enough to do without any mistakes, without any inaccuracies. And actually, we can characterize the mistake as a slip. For example, when our students are not so, for example, accurate and so they know the rule, but sometimes they can think about the slip and then correct it themselves. So errors, because students do not know material very well yet, and actually slips are just simply because they know how to use it, but actually it is a sort of accidental thing. Well, exactly. So now I'd like to ask you, why do our students usually make mistakes? Could you please switch on your microphones and try to share your experience? What can be the reasons of mistakes? Different ones. Well, do not feel shy. Switch on your microphones and please be active. Well, okay.
Okay, yeah, I think that not only students but also teachers sometimes make mistakes, and it can be explained maybe by sleepy mind. You are not in the theme or you are not in the way to speak grammatically correctly or something like that.
What category can it be? I'm sorry. What category can it be referred to? Errors or sleep?
Sleeps, surely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay.
Sleeps.
Yeah. Right.
The other reasons, lack of practice. Because if the material is fresh enough to activate it in speech, so the students are apt to make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, completely agree. Other reasons?
Shall we continue? Maybe some others.
Yeah, Natalia wanted to say something. What was your idea?
Hello, Marina Mikhailova.
Hello.
My little daughter was talking here, so I didn't hear anything that Olga said. I just, maybe Olga has said this, I'm not sure, but maybe the children are very computer and gadget developed today. So they almost think about their gadgets, their games, and their mind is busy. Maybe because Olga said sleepy mind, and maybe they are not interested in studying at all. Sometimes they are just too much busy with their games. It's my opinion for some people.
So actually, they are not so profound in studying, right? So okay. So good idea.
Yeah,
actually, this is a sort of philosophical reason. Yeah. Well, why?
Yes, Maria Mikhailovna, I completely agree with this idea. I think that nowadays some students they even are not interested in self-correction. They make the same mistakes all the time, and it sometimes takes a lot of effort of the teacher, right, to make the student understand that he or she has to speak correctly. They continue making the same stuff, and it really, I don't know, gets on the sometimes.
So I think it is the problem that is connected with their critical thinking, and their just general ability to analyze what is going on, what they are talking about, and what mistakes actually they are making, right? Yeah. Well, okay, other ideas? Anna, Alena, would you like to join? Because actually this is our experience, and of course there are a lot of things there are a lot of reasons of mistakes. Well, Irina Vasilina, welcome to join.
Okay, I may add one more reason raising in my experience. One daughter, maybe she had a kind of problem that can be called dyslexia or something, and so even the knowledge of grammar, even the knowledge of theory didn't allow her to speak correctly or to write correctly. Even knowing the rules, she continued breaking them while trying to improvise or to write.
Yeah. So some problems like problems connected with just their development, right? Like dyslexia. Okay. So of course, and if we are speaking about just making mistakes in a foreign language, what can be the factors? What can be the reasons of making these mistakes?
Hello, Maria Mikhailovna.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree with Olga about dyslexia, because nowadays there are lots of students with such kind of problems, especially young learners, and a gap of knowledge. I think they've got gap in their knowledge, lack of knowledge. Yeah.
Exactly. So lack of practice, lack of knowledge. That's right. Oh, and they're still speaking about learning a foreign language. What can be just the obvious reason for making mistakes?
Marina Mikhailovna, may I add one?
Yeah, of course.
Maybe the influence of native language. If you some words, you just try to remember to combine some words that are not combined in the target language.
Yeah. So influence of native language, exactly. And actually it can lead to different sorts of mistakes when they can't, for example, make the sentences correctly, when they try to translate in their minds what they want to say here. And actually there can be a lot of just problems in their phonetics, for example, because of the first language interference, right? So it can be influence of native language, for sure. Okay, other things?
So a lot of students nowadays can have the chance to study the second foreign language, and sometimes I come across with such a problem. They mix the words phonetically, or sometimes even the meaning of the translation of several words with another foreign language.
Yeah.
If we know another one, I mean, I studied German. I cannot understand what the mistake comes from, where the mistake comes from. And I do not consider it to be a mistake, but simply I start speaking German with them. They start laughing, and then they change into the correct pronunciation. So that is why sometimes it is not the lack of the knowledge, but the interference of another foreign language into their English speech.
Yeah. So, is it that you meant, interference of other foreign languages? Okay, great idea. What else?
There can be some psychological problems. For example, if the student is really very shy, and it's difficult to speak, or he or she is really nervous during.
Yeah, and then actually, again, so it can lead to the problems of concentration, for example, on what they are speaking about and maybe writing about. Okay, exactly. So you can see that the reasons of mistakes are not only connected with their language teaching methodology, right? So you can see just a lot of different reasons for making mistakes, but actually we are going to cover today just everything that we as English language teachers can do to help our students, just maybe make less mistakes or maybe correct them themselves. Well, actually, as there are if we follow the methodological just knowledge, ideas, actually there can be two main reasons of mistakes. The first one, as you have mentioned, it is interference of other languages and mainly of the mother tongue, of course, of the first language. And actually, the second reason is the stage of the learner's development. So they are not mature enough not to make mistakes. And of course, this very thing can have a lot of different examples and implications, and actually other languages interference can also influence different aspects of learning and just speaking and writing in the foreign language. And actually, also mistakes show some students' problems. Of course, they can show problems in communication, in psychology, and so on. But when we speak about teaching a foreign language, we can say that, first of all, this is a problem of accuracy. When our students are not mature enough to just not make mistakes, to talk freely and accurately. So then it can be also the problem of appropriacy. So when they can use some language items, but they do not think about how appropriate this or that, for example, word can be in this or that situation. And the third problem here, it can be the problem of communication, right? So actually, when we speak about communication, first we mean the message that we want to just communicate, and just about how clear we speak or write. So what will the receiver on the other part get from our message, and so on. So accuracy, it is usually about the form. Appropriacy, it is usually about the style, how the style is appropriate, and communication is about the message, right? And we are going to try to cover all these things today. Now, I would like you to just give me just certain examples from your teaching practice. Could you please think of 3 typical mistakes your learners make and write them in this box below? Okay, any, actually.
So, how can we... yes, you have provided.
Okay, yeah. Right. So if they can be just maybe exact phrases or or types of mistakes, for example, spelling. Yeah, it is a type of mistake, but you can also provide the examples there. Okay. So exactly. Yeah. Mhm. Okay, yeah, intonation, of course, and questions are right. Spelling, grammar, right? Okay. Word order, right? Okay, so thank you so much. And now let's try to categorize which mistakes are the most common. So mistakes in accuracy, in appropriacy, or in communication. So what about spelling? Will it be accuracy, appropriacy, or communication? What do you think? You can also write here or just speak.
So it will be accuracy.
Accuracy for sure. So what about pronunciation? Again? Accuracy, right? So what about intonation? So accuracy, right. Okay, what about grammar?
Accuracy.
Accuracy mainly, then wrong word.
Appropriacy.
Appropriacy.
Appropriacy in a way, right, okay, good. And word order in a sentence?
Accuracy.
Accuracy mainly. But actually sometimes it is very difficult to categorize mistakes only in one group. Of course, so spelling, it will be the mistake of accuracy, but in its turn, it will influence communication. So we can also add here communication, yeah? So if it can cause the problems of understanding sometimes. The same situation is with grammar, pronunciation, right, intonation, and so on. Because if our intonation, for example, influences the understanding, the general message, it can be also the problem of communication. Right, so you see that it is not so easy, everything is not so easy about the mistakes. Yeah, but still, as you have mentioned already, the majority of the mistakes that our students usually make are the mistakes of accuracy. Right, so now I'd like you to look at the categories of mistakes, and actually you can see that everything is mixed up here. And I'd like to ask you to look at the categories. So the mistakes in grammar, register, lexis, pronunciation, and spelling. Then you should draw the line, for example, to the type of mistake. So you should choose one appropriate box from this second column, and then give the example. Yeah, so draw a sort of line. For example, grammar. What will be the mistake in grammar? You can easily guess that it is mixing up the past simple and present perfect. And where will be the example?
I have gone to the cinema yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, like this. So you can use different colors and draw different lines in order to trace the categories, types, and examples of mistakes. Okay?
Да.
Yeah.
Using words with similar.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. So let's see. Everything is okay with the grammar, right? So grammar, it is mixing up, for example, the tenses, and there are some examples. Then, if we are talking about the problems in register, it can be using all formal language in informal context or vice versa, right? And the example is given here, right? So please allow me to fetch you a drink. Then, if we speak about lexis, actually it can be just confusion over the words which have similar meanings. And for example, I will be with you in a minute. I'm just wearing my coat. Yeah, wearing is the wrong word here. Then pronunciation. Again, the user that used just a green marker is completely right, actually, here. And you see the
Ship instead of sheep.
are like the influence.
Something happens with the
Okay, here something happens with the sound again.
Okay.
Wow, just a second. I'll try to do something about it.
We can hear very clearly.
Yeah, so now you can hear.
Yes.
Right. Okay, and now again, one more just way to subdivide all the mistakes can be like division them into, oops. Okay, so I'm sorry. So we can divide them into written mistakes and oral mistakes. And now I'd like to ask you, just is there any difference in how you correct students' oral mistakes and students' written mistakes? And what type of mistakes is easier or more difficult for you to correct and to deal with? Could you please speak up about it? Just on that topic, okay?
It's very difficult for me to correct written mistakes. I am
written?
Yeah, sometimes I'm not sure because the language is changing. Maybe I'm not right. I start to check it sometimes, and I'm sometimes nervous.
Yeah.
Write something, you must be completely sure in your correction.
Then in this way, I can strongly recommend our just lessons with Rima Validna and Alena Nikolaevna. Here, actually, you can improve a bit your language. Yeah, and of course, there are a lot of different just resources which you can use in order to check it. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have the same opinion. We can use all handouts. There are a lot of grammar books. Each time when I try to correct something, I consult with some special literature in order to be quite sure that my correction will be right.
Yeah, especially in the situations when our students use Google Translator or something like that, and sometimes so Google Translator can be more advanced response to the
Yes,
teacher.
sometimes I start thinking that maybe I am making mistakes. Then I know for sure that I'm correct. But sometimes when several students make the same mistakes in the same context, I start asking myself questions. And as to the oral pronunciation, I mean mistakes, I usually try to re-ask. I want to repeat the previous sentence once again and pay attention, be more attentive. Sometimes children pronounce for the second time the word correctly. So that is why it is some kind of not slip a mistake of not a real mistake.
Actually, yeah.
Yes.
Elena Vasilina, it is really a good idea. We give our students the opportunity to correct their own mistakes. And can we give such an opportunity in written works? And how do you usually do it?
Yes, we also can, but recent work of us, I mean, with the correction of our written works in our BBB system is very time-consuming thing.
So agree completely.
Yes, so sometimes I write down all the mistakes made by my students and try to give the model of the mistake and give the chance to students sitting in the classroom to give their choices, to give their possible variants, which they consider to be the most correct ones.
So you do not provide the correct variant, right? But you simply underline the wrong place in the written work and then ask them to
tell the truth.
Give the variant.
Correction in our tests, I usually write the correct variant. I don't have so much time. Only when we come back to the classroom, I want my other students not to make similar mistakes. Then I do the work which I have just explained.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other ideas? Maybe some other people would like to add there something? Okay. Olga Leonidovna, what do you usually do? And what types of mistakes?
Okay, yes, I work with some students, for example, Rita and Felix Nazarov, right? And they send me their, essays and other papers, and then I upload them when I have a lesson with them, and I do not correct. I just underline the phrases and then allow them to correct. But they are very good students. As for those students who write not correctly, I mean, creative writings, it's much tougher because sometimes if you want to correct, you have to rewrite because they the Russian influence, the influence of Russian language, say, damages the style of the way they express the ideas in English. And if they ask me to correct, it means that they have to rewrite simply. And sometimes it's very difficult to understand what they wanted to say because it's too, literal representation of Russian mentality. And I dealt with such situations many times.
Yeah.
In this case, you have to cooperate with the student and to ask him what version you'd better use when you try to express this idea or that idea. So it takes time.
Yeah. So I think there are no such problems there at the lower levels, with students. Yeah, but when you work with the advanced or upper intermediate students, so their ideas can be too complex to put them in plain English here, and actually this is a problem. So my question is here, can you somehow hint what sort of mistake is made there? Just underline simply the place where there is a mistake, you think, and can you give them a sort of a clue? Any ideas? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
We can sometimes write which mistake, what kind of mistake, for example, word order,
Yeah.
or maybe spelling. Just write this note, and the person.
Exactly, Natalia. Thank you. So, and it is a sort of coding, right? So it is a good idea for the students to understand what sort of mistakes they have made. Yeah, and for this purpose, we can use different correction codes. Of course, so you can see here at the screen the most typical codes, and you can decode them easily. Now, could you please use your tools in order to write the correct variants? What do you think about each of them? What is WW? Only 2 W's there? Exactly. This is about our own word. Good.
Word order.
Word order, the second one, right?
Spelling.
Okay.
Vocabulary.
This is vocabulary, right?
Punctuation.
It can be punctuation, right? Good. What about A?
No, don't know.
Article, yeah. So the thing that actually does not exist in Russian.
Tense? No, well.
Yeah, it can be tense, right? Okay, you can write tense. What about this mark? What can it be about?
The lack of the verb be, perhaps.
So actually it is the lack of something, yeah? When something is missing, right? Something missing. Okay. So, and I'm sure that you know some other just ways to just hint your students what are you talking about. Just could you please give your variants? What other contractions can you use in order to just draw the students' attention to this or that type of a mistake? So, for example, some people can use a sort of cross for something, yeah, like this. What for? In what situations? Yeah.
Unnecessary.
It is opposite to the previous one, right? When something should not be there, yeah? So, when, for example, when something is missing, this one, and it is unnecessary thing, right? Unnecessary letter or word, for example. Okay. Other ideas? So, I usually use, for example, with my students, this sign. What for? What are your ideas?
When I do not understand the idea which was trying to be expressed by the students.
Exactly. So it is about the general meaning, about the message, right?
Yes.
What does the student want to say? Okay. So, and actually, no more space here, but sometimes we need also to draw the attention of the students to the problem of style. You can use, for example, ST, or simply S, ST for style, SP for spelling, for example. We can use punct. I usually write punct for punctuation and prep for preposition, because sometimes especially we are studying prepositions, we can also draw the students' attention. And so what do you think? Do you use a system like this in your own teaching? And why can it be good to use this system? Just not simply underline their own places, but just, okay, could you please share?
To use their brains.
Right. And again, it is one more opportunity to develop their critical thinking. Yeah, they not only should pay attention, okay, mistake, and that's okay. Yeah, but they should try to categorize their types of mistakes. And so, is it a good idea for us as teachers to put these marks is it a way for us to see the whole picture? Yeah. What are the most typical mistakes that our students make? Okay. So, but one very important thing here, it is to familiarize our student with this system. Yeah, they should understand clearly what is your message, right? What you want to say using these codes. Okay, so now I'd like you to practice and use this correction code in order to find and correct the mistakes in this just piece of writing. Actually, a hint is that we have only one mistake in every line. Okay. So you're going.
I'm going.
Yeah, you too. Good. And what can we write here? Or above. Okay, nice. Prepositions, Yupar. Wrong word. Okay, good. Nice. Right, and so here you are absolutely right in all the cases, but actually to see and to understand the codes clearly, usually the teachers maybe can use the margins, yeah, for these marks. So, for example, to mark grammar mistakes, or you can use here the verb, because grammar is a sort of vast thing here, including tenses, prepositions, and so on. Right, then like word order, wrong word can be also done here on margins, like spelling can be also put here, right? So, and usually when getting their works back, students can look at the margins and see all the mistakes, and then just can correlate them with the symbols. Yeah, that's right. Well, and now we are going to discuss then their final mark. We are not going to talk today about the evaluation, but so the next thing usually the teachers usually do is writing comments. Do you personally write comments for your students? And how important do you think is it to write the comments for the students? So again, you can speak up.
So to tell the truth, for the students, I think it's very important to know the feedback from the teacher, because it can make him feel more sure in his knowledge. He will know what is good, what he is good at, and what he is not very good at.
Not so good yet. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, and but on the other hand, it's very time-consuming. You have got a lot of groups and you have got a lot of students. You need to check everything in a very short period of time, so you have to be very quick. So, but we understand that it's an important thing for students to know the teacher's feedback.
Yeah, exactly. And in this situation, Rima Valerievna's idea that you can read there in the chat here seems just very valuable, really. So not to spend your time on writing, you can record your feedback and send them through the just voicemail or yeah. So use different tools. But the main thing is that our students really need the comments and really need a sort of feedback. That is really so. So, of course, if they get their work marked just in red and with a lot of mistakes and with maybe some points at the end, of course, they cannot feel so motivated to correct the mistakes and just improve their skills. Yeah, but if they have all the marks plus your feedback plus your comments, so it can be also a sort of push for them to move on and just correct their mistakes effectively. Right, so now we are going also to just discuss one more very important thing. It is that focused correction. Yeah, do you agree that correction should be really focused? And what can be the foci of correction? You can also write your ideas here, just in the list. Do we usually correct everything in our students' writing? Or do we focus on some things? So you can speak up, write in the chat, write under the question. What about the foci? So, for example, if we're learning some grammar, yeah, at the moment, we can focus on correcting only the mistakes in the grammar understudy, right? Yeah. If we are writing, for example, essay with our students, Olga Leonidovna, what are your ideas about what we can focus on?
Maybe, yes. You'd better to concentrate on the corrections of that material that is under scrutiny at the moment. So if you're studying tenses, if these are kind of compositional essays that they had to write and they had to use, say, past tenses, right? So you have to concentrate exactly on the correction of that aim that you put in front of students.
That's right.
That is the idea. You have to target at the aim of the task that was given to students.
Exactly. So, so when just focus on some types of correction, we should bear in mind such things like material understudy, then our aims actually, yeah. So sometimes we can also think about our students' needs. It won't be better, right? Well, so. And actually, this is a very, very important thing. For example, it will also depend on the language level of our students. Of course, you know, you deal with the Cambridge assessment, right? And you understand that our students can only be appreciated for using, for example, language that is above their level. But, of course, they shouldn't be punished severely for making mistakes in the words of their upper levels. Agree? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so level as well. And now we are going to practice. Of course, I hope that everything will be okay with it. And we are going to play a sort of game that is called a correction traffic lights. So we have got a student whose name is Gert. And could you please read the information about him? So he's a middle-aged mind, pre-intermediate level learner. And he had got the experience to practice his listening and speaking when traveling around Asia on his motorbike. But he doesn't have much need to write in his second language and admits that he's a lousy speller. So he agrees with this fact. He attends classes once a week and loves sharing his many life experiences with his teacher and classmates. So this is the background information. And there you can also see the correction code. Nothing new. WW for wrong words, punctuation, spelling, grammar, different just things connected with grammar, and word order, or maybe something else. Now we are going to just try to correct his piece of writing, but we are going to work in 3 groups. So 2 people will be in green group, and you should mark all the mistakes you see using the correction coder. And maybe any other words, phrases you think will help learner to see his mistakes. Then, amber group. You should mark any mistakes you think a learner at pre-intermediate level should be able to correct themselves, like slips rather than errors. And you should also use the correction code. And the last one, it is red group. The learner was asked to share their favorite recipes. Mark only those errors that interfere with the message. So you should mark the mistakes in what? In communication, right? So, for example, if I would like to use his recipe for the whole grain bread there, so I will be a success, yeah? So now we are going to subdivide the people, and I would like Alona, so let me try to create the rooms. We need 3 rooms, and Rima Valerievna and Alona, would you be so kind to work in the first room? Anna and Olga Leonidovna, could you please work in the second room? And B, Amber, just correctors. And Natalia and Irina Vasilievna, could you please be in the third room? And your color is red. Now we are going to create the room.